Hello, everyone, and welcome to the latest episode of BI Kelsey's interview series with leaders from the wide world of mobile and location-based advertising and content. I'm Mike Boland, analyst with BI Kelsey, and today we have Jeff Tomlin, who is SVP of Marketing at Vendasta. So welcome, Jeff.
Hey, welcome. Thanks for having me.
So thanks for joining us. It's always great to talk to you. The inception for this interview was driven by a news item a couple weeks ago, which was the launch of your Masked 10X, which is the latest version of your platform for agency partners to better serve their local advertising clients. So we're going to talk about that. But first, I want to give you the chance to talk about Vendasta. Most of our audience is definitely familiar with you guys, and you guys are a fixture at BIA Kelsey conferences. But for anyone watching that isn't familiar, talk about Vendasta and the art of online reputation and presence management.
Sure. And we are a fixture at BIA Kelsey conferences. I keep my name tag and wear it around the office. We've been adding a lot of people around the office, so I keep my name tag, and I've got you guys put a star beside my name, so people think I'm important around here now.
Well, not only are you a fixture, but the whole Vendasta team, and notably your CEO, Brendan King, who is famous for being the first one at the hotel to check in on Foursquare.
And wearing the loudest shirt around. Well, so the art of reputation and presence management was your question. And Vendasta does focus on reputation presence management, and we call them foundational pieces of SMB digital marketing. And reputation presence, in our opinion, goes hand in hand because you need to know where you're listed online first and foremost, and then you need saying about you. And if you have a lot of people out there saying a lot of good things about you, but they can't find you, it doesn't do you any good. And if you're out there and you're listed everywhere and the only thing that people see is negative stuff about you, that's not doing you any good either. So I think the two things need to be treated hand in hand. And again, we consider them part of a foundational digital marketing package.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And it reminds me, too, that the reputation management kind of opportunity and the pain points that you're addressing is really coming at the right time because there are lots of macro trends driving this. So we have increasingly empowered consumers who have a voice with things such as review sites. And that's not necessarily new, but you also have smartphone penetration that's ratcheting up, which puts a powerful tool into the hands of all of us. And that in turn has led to the age of social sharing. So capturing moments and sharing with friends. And there's everything from Instagram photos to Facebook status updates, but consumers are also sharing transactional information. And that's where this all kind of comes together. So dining out experiences, for example. And one example of that is Yelp's review volume has really exploded in the past few years, and 40% of their reviews are now written from mobile devices. So this is really all to say that these trends are really creating a fragmented set of consumer voices. So the need for businesses to kind of corral and wrap their arms around all that is more important than ever. So do you see the same kind of trends, and is your business growing as a result of these?
We certainly are. There are more and more channels that you have to pay attention to, and we're seeing that across all the different verticals in healthcare, in travel, automotive, real estate, and then of course with sort of the unstructured social platforms. We call them unstructured, like Twitter and like Instagram and Pinterest. People sharing a lot more information across all these channels, and it really harkens the need to monitor these conversations.
Yeah, that's interesting. I always say that businesses embracing social media, it's really no longer their choice. Consumers are out there talking about their businesses, whether they like it or not. And the only difference is really if they decide to join that conversation and influence it. And the first step towards that is simply listening and being able to see that conversation all in one place. So the question is, what is the full swath of media that you're monitoring as part of your reputation and presence management platform? And also, are any of those trending in ways that indicate consumer usage of a particular tool, whether it be Instagram or Foursquare or Yelp or any of these?
Well, first off, the full swath, and we cover structured media, and we refer to structured media as ratings, reviews, comments about a business that exist on a business profile. So this would be on a Google Plus page, on a Yelp profile, City Search, TripAdvisor. And then there's unstructured mentions, which are anything from news sites to blogs, to mentions on Twitter, which are not attached to a business profile. And those are a little trickier, but there's a lot of conversations out there about it. And so we are seeing more and more discussion from unstructured sources like from Twitter, a lot of stuff coming from Instagram, and ratings and reviews. What would you guess is the largest source right now that we're finding on reviews?
So I would guess either Yelp or Google plus local, just based on Google scale.
Yeah, and those would be two really, really good guesses. Yelp is the juggernaut. Google is generating a lot of reviews. Actually, Facebook last month generated more reviews than anyone else.
Yeah, and also it's about this happens on two levels. It's about listening and acting. So are you guys providing the tools to recommend action based on what activity businesses see on their social media? You know, if there's one thing we know about SMBs, it's that sometimes they need their hands held or to be told what to do. And in many ways, your tool is built for an agency account rep to do the heavy lifting for the local business. But what's the extent of the service that rep is providing, and how you're enabling that? I imagine it could be a wide range based on the needs of that agency or their advertising clients, and how extensive that gets.
Yeah, I think it was one of your recent LCM surveys that indicated the discussion was around services desired for online ad sales, and about 61% of SMBs indicated the most valuable service was a DIY component to that. And interestingly enough, we know that they won't do it. And so you need to provide a DIY component. And we need to build tools for the SMB to be able to understand what they need to action on, what are the important things that they'll need to reply to and pay attention to. But when we build tools, we build everything with a DIY front end and a different back end. And when you put the service together with an agency, we call it do it with me. And that's the critical component in the delivery that makes everything work. We know the business won't do the DIY themselves. They're busy. They're running their businesses. An agency can't do everything, all of the social media functioning on behalf of a business. They can't respond to everything and be experts at it. They have to engage the business somehow. So you need a system that marries the two. That allows an agency to perform work on behalf of the business, but also engage and involve them in the process as well.
Yeah, that's also interesting in the kind of continuum of different service levels. There's, of course, at one end of the spectrum, DIY, and then you also have DIFM, which is, of course, do it for me. So it sounds like you found a sweet spot in between those two endpoints with the kind of do it with me paradigm. So that's interesting. So now let's move on to discussing your most recent announcement, the MAST 10X platform.
Yeah, so MAST 10X, so it stands for Marketing Automation and Sales Transformation. We don't make any money unless our channel partners sell and make money. We're purely a white label platform. And so as we were sitting back, we became very passionate about the sales and the marketing aspect of local and helping SMBs. So we've done a lot of looking back at history, at what's been successful in history, and what we're seeing as successful right now with the agencies that are growing. And if you look back, so we look back to a past life. We were Brendan and I and the rest of the fine young chaps that started Vendasta with us. We worked at a company called Point Two, and we built real estate websites. And back then we provided a free real estate website platform, which was something that was interesting in 2002. No, websites for big business, you didn't give them away for free, but that's the way we gathered market share. And a few years later, we had 165,000 realtors in 84 countries. If you look at the way that Google has approached selling productivity suites, and their word killer and their spreadsheets, they started out with a free platform. They created something of value, and now they're selling it into a marketplace. One of the other stories, when we're looking back to history, we were at one of your events in Atlanta. I believe that was a national impact. And at one of your lunches, the client lunch, I believe that you had a speaker, Chip Perry, from Auto Trader. And if you look back to his model, and this is one of the few large powerhouses, the traditional media companies that took a really innovative approach to capturing the automotive market.
Yes, and at the time, a very risky and contrarian approach as well.
Very, very. And it took a lot of guts to do what they did, but they commissioned Chip to destroy the model back in what 1997, 98, and he set apart to do that. And he built a marketplace, positioned it as a free service to all of the automotive dealers throughout North America. And I believe his first product that he came out with in his talk, and you can correct me if you think that I'm wrong, but I believe the first thing he came out with was about a $50 subscription. But over time, when you hit 2012, they reached $1 billion in revenue. Their churn rates at the time were between 1.6 and 1.9%, ridiculously low. And their ARPU had grown to $2,400 a month, and so which is a very interesting. So we've been fascinated with the sales and marketing approach to local, and I think that businesses today and digital agencies that want to succeed have to sit back and think about how are they going to capture market share? How are they going to get the attention of SMBs? What can they do to provide them something of value to start creating a relationship with them? And then how can they build on that over time to create real value? And then lastly, how can they mobilize their sales force to work in an efficient manner and work with the people that are actually ready to buy and engage?
Well, that's great, and we'll be watching intently to see how Mast 10X rolls out and accomplishes all of the things you just mentioned, which are all very much aligned with the things that BIA Kelsey are watching. So I think that's well devised. So we'll be watching it closely and continuing to cover that here through different video and on our blog and newsletter and other editorial channels. So that's all the time we have. Jeff, I want to thank you for joining us. And we'll be seeing you at our next conference in December in San Francisco.
We'll be there indeed.
And not only that, but also we'll be watching for Brendan King's check-ins at the hotel and all the other venues in the San Francisco area.
There'll be many of them.
Great. Well, thank you again, Jeff, and thank you all in the audience for watching. We'll be back soon with more commentary in our video series and other similar channels. So until next time, thanks for watching.